Hello, and welcome to Piano Player Pro, your favourite classical tunes arranged for piano. Today we're going to be playing Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov. Rimsky-Korsakov was one of a famous group of 19th century Russian composers called the Mighty Handful, which also included the likes of Borodin and Mussorgsky. This is by far Rimsky-Korsakov's most famous tune. It was originally written as an orchestral interlude from his opera The Tale of the Tsar Sultan, during which the Tsar's son, Prince Gvidon, is turned into a bumblebee by a magical swan so that he can be reunited with his father, who believes him to be dead. It was famously transcribed for piano by fellow Russian composer Rachmaninoff, and since then, due to its sheer speed and complexity, virtuoso players of probably every instrument have attempted to play it, usually as fast as possible, although the best performances are never just about speed alone. If you haven't already, then follow the link below and head over to the website pianoplayerpro.com, where you can find the sheet music, which is free to download, and while you're there, make sure you check out the other pieces that you can learn. I'm regularly adding new pieces and content, so if you find this video helpful, then please hit the subscribe button below. In total, there are 4 piano arrangements of Flight of the Bumblebee for you to choose from, starting with level 1 for just the right hand and getting progressively more difficult all the way up to level 4. This video is for the level 1 version, but feel free to take a look at the others. So we're going to start by playing it all the way through once, and then we're going to go back and look at it section by section. So here we go with Flight of the Bumblebee. Okay, so quite a tricky piece, quite quick notes, especially bearing in mind this is just the level 1 version for the right hand, but the key to it, there's 2 main things you need to do. Firstly, you need to practice it really slowly. Don't try and do it really quickly. Obviously, it's a piece that's supposed to be played quickly, but start by playing it slowly and then very, very gradually build up, and you'll find that actually it's not too difficult to build up once you've learnt it properly. But if you try and rush it too quickly, then you just end up getting frustrated. Secondly, think about which fingers you use. It makes a real difference. Firstly, that you think carefully about which fingers are best to use. I've kind of given you suggestions in the music, and I'll talk a little bit as we go through it section by section. Sometimes though you might have a fingering that you prefer. You don't have to stick with the fingers that I've suggested, but what I would encourage you to do is, if you change the patterns that I suggest, write in the ones that you use, because the real key is that you always do exactly the same thing. If you always do exactly the same fingers for the same notes, then your brain learns those patterns much more quickly. And actually this piece is very much about patterns. It's lots and lots of patterns. So if you can learn the patterns, then you can play the piece. So let's look at the A section. So this is like an introduction really. The main tune starts when we get to the B section. But the A section starts very, very high up. I've actually shifted the whole keyboard along for this piece because so much of it happens right at the top. So this is middle C. So this is normally in the middle of the piano, but I've put it down here. And then we are going to play up here. So there's middle C, here's the C above middle C, here's the C above that, that's the one that goes above the stave, and then here is E, which is even higher than that. So you start with lots of what are called ledger lines, the kind of lines that show you how high the note is. And you're going to start just by playing the E and the D sharp very, very quickly, like this. Okay, and you do that 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you finish with a very short E. Okay, and I've suggested using 4 and 3 for that. You might prefer to do 3 and 2. They're often stronger fingers, or even 1 and 2. See what's most comfortable for you. Okay, and once you've done that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stop. You then have to very, very quickly jump down the octave and do the same thing again here. So it's exactly the same pattern, 6 of these, 5, 6, stop. And then you jump down the octave again. So you start on high E, then you go to the kind of E here in the middle, and then you go to, I say low E, but actually it's just normal E. And you do the same pattern again, but this time, instead of doing it 6 times, you just do it twice, stop, so 1, 2, stop, and then you do another one of those. Okay, so 6 of these, jump down and 6 of these, and then jump down and then 2 of these, another 2, and that's the introduction. Okay, so that's how that whole thing goes. Let me play that all through once more. 5, 6, stop, 5, 6, stop, then 2s, and then we're ready to start the main tune, which is the B section. So this is where you use all the notes, the white notes and the black notes. This is something called the chromatic scale in music. We're mostly used to using the major scale. So if you start on C, the major scale is just all the white notes. Lots and lots of tunes just use the major scale. We also use something called the minor scale, which is when you change a few of the white notes for black notes. In C at least. So they're the two main scales you use. This one is an unusual scale because it's the chromatic scale, which means you use all of the different notes, all of the white notes and the black notes. And the way it's commonly played, the fingers that you use, you put your thumb on the white notes and you put your middle finger on the black notes. Okay? And the reason for that is you go 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. And then when you get to here, because you've got 2 white notes in a row, that's when you use your kind of second finger to fill in the gap. So it's 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that pattern, once you've learnt it, means you can play the chromatic scale nice and fluently like that. Now we don't need to do very much of it in this version. In the level 3 and 4 version particularly, you do a lot more with the chromatic scale. This version though, you do need to use these 5 notes here. So you might want to do 1, 3, 1, 3, 1 as you do that. So decide what's comfortable for you. So let's start with the thumb. You're going to go on the E through all the black notes and white notes down to C, and you go back up again. So 1, 3, 1, 3, back up, back down, back up. Okay, so that's that pattern you repeat actually 4 times. You go down, up, second time, third time, 4th time. So it's the same things like the kind of B going round and round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, once you've done it 4 times, the pattern changes and it becomes the same idea down and up using the chromatic scale, but it's a much shorter pattern. So it's like it's making smaller circles. Instead of going all the way down to the C, you just go down to the D and back up again. So it's half a length, 1, 2. And then you do that 4 times, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so you can see the pattern has got shorter. So from the beginning of the B section, all the way down, up, down, down. Then a smaller pattern, 4 of those, and then to finish this section, you're going to go all the way down again, and then you're going to finish with just 3 E's in a row, 1, 2, 3. So after having done the shorter pattern, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, you do the full pattern once more, and then finish with E, E, E. Okay? So the whole B section once more goes like this. Then shorter, the whole pattern again, E, 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 and that's the B section. When you get to the C section, it's actually a very, very similar pattern. In fact, the pattern's the same, you just start on a different note. So you started the B section, E, go to C. Now you're going to move your thumb, or your 4, or whatever you start with, you're going to move that up to A, and you can do the same pattern, but starting on A. And you're going to go down, but not all the way to the C, you're just going to go down to the F, so the same 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back up again. And you do exactly the same pattern. It's like the whole thing is identical. Starting there, and then you go down and up 4 times, down, up, down, 3 times, 4 times, and then you've guessed it, the shorter pattern that you did, 1, 2, 1, 2, you do that 4 times, the whole thing again, down and up, and then A to finish. So it is absolutely identical. If you were playing it with your eyes closed and someone moved the keyboard, you could play this version here, and then someone would move the keyboard, you would play exactly the same pattern with exactly the same fingers, and it would sound like the C section. You know, they are identical. Then the shorter version, then the longer version, A to finish. So here's the B section followed by the C section, just so you can hear them in context. Here we go. All the way down, and then move quickly so that's how that goes, the B and C section. The D section, you can move from the A to the B. You can move to the B, and I'm going to suggest you start with your thumb. You play it 4 times, very, very short. Da, 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 da. And then you do this odd thing where you're going to play the B flat and the C together, which creates a bit of a clash. Okay, it doesn't sound particularly nice, but this isn't a piece where you've got a lovely tune. It's a piece about creating an effect, which it obviously does amazingly well. So you start with the Bs, four of those, and then 4 of these, the B flat and the C together. Okay, so 4 of these, then you repeat that again, another 4 of these, and then you do the same kind of thing, but again you shorten the pattern, so you just do 2 and 2, 2 and 2. Okay, so you've done 4s, 4s, then 2s, 2s, and then you stay on that clashy pattern. You do another 4 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you finish the section with 3 Bs. So those last 3 Bs are very similar to how you finished the sections before. Okay, B, that was one section. And then this section finishes with them. That 1, 2, 3. So make that really strong. So here's the whole of the D section. 4 of these, 4 of these, then 2s. Stay on that chord, then back to those, and there's 3 of those. So that's the D section. And then again, the E section is very, very similar to the D section. It's the same pattern, but it's just moved up on different notes. So in the same way that the B and C section kind of repeat each other, but in a different part of the keyboard, the D and E section do the same thing. So you've just been playing here. You now move that thumb from the B all the way up to high E, and you do the same pattern. It's exactly the same. So 4 of those, then 4 of these, the E flat and the F. Back again. Then you do the 2s, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you stay on the chord for another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've just got the last bar, which is different, which is just E, E, A. And that's your finish. So you've just done, and then you've got to flick that A to finish. And you'll notice it gets very, very loud in the E section. So you've got this very kind of fortissimo. But the ending is very, very quiet. And you're not expecting that. You're expecting a big, loud ending. And actually, it does the opposite of what you think. It suddenly gets very, very quiet. So let's just play the D and the E section all the way through. And then we'll go and play the whole piece all the way from beginning to end. So here's the D section. Okay, just before we play the whole thing through once more, I just want to talk a little bit about dynamics. That's the loud and the soft, and they're very, very important in this piece. You'll notice it starts loud, and then it gets quieter during the introduction, and then even quieter, so that when you start the tune in the B section, it's pianissimo. And then it builds a bit louder in the C section. Then the D and the E section get increasingly louder, louder and louder and louder, and then we've already talked about the ending where you think it's going to keep getting louder and it actually gets very, very soft right at the end. So let's listen to the whole piece through from beginning to end. Here is Flight of the Bumblebee. So that was the level 1 version of Rimsky-Korsakov's Flight of the Bumblebee. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, then please hit the subscribe button below, as there's new pieces for you to learn coming out all the time. And remember, the music for all of them is free to download from the website pianoplayerpro.com. If you've got any questions or requests for future pieces, then do get in touch via the comments section below. Have a great day then, and happy practicing.